It is great to be back from Minnesota and here at First Lutheran Church in Galion, Ohio. One of the classes that I took during my intensive time off was Christian mission and evangelism. And I will continue this class over the next 10 weeks. Mission, you see, is something that we Lutherans can get behind, going out and doing something. Evangelism, on the other hand, is more of a dirty word for us. You mean I actually have to go out and talk to people about Christianity, about being Christian, and about Jesus? Most of us would rather stick a tack in our eyes. But I'm reminded of 1 Peter 3:15. Always be ready to make your defense to anyone who demands from you an accounting for the hope that is in you. As Christians, we should be able to answer the question, why Jesus? Which should then lead us to consider, why am I a Christian in the first place? And what difference has Christ Jesus made in my life? As part of the class, I wrote my own Why Jesus story. I shared it earlier this week with our Outreach and Evangelism Committee, and they then considered and shared their own Why Jesus stories. So after you hear me recite my story, I encourage you to think about your own Why Jesus story. Because after all, you never know when you will be asked to tell the story of the hope that is in you. And I might add, my story is fairly long based on some of the requirements for the class, but your story can be as long or as short as you would like. Why am I a Christian? A few generations ago, it would have been good enough to say, my parents took me to church, their parents took them to church, and now my kids go to church with me. And now, this, for me, is all true. But many of my generation, I am an elder millennial, that is my generation, grew up going to church, but they're just not showing up anymore. And if they're not showing up, they're certainly not bringing their kids with them. They are the nuns, N-O-N-E-S, nuns, and the duns, D-O-N-E-S. They either don't affiliate with any religious group anymore, or they're simply just done with religion, done with Christianity, done with church. So that leads me, as a millennial, when so many of my generation are rejecting Christianity, why am I a Christian? Why am I not a nun or a dun? Well, as I said, I was raised going to church every Sunday, a Lutheran church where I should have been hearing a steady and consistent message. Shawn, there is nothing you can do to earn the love of Christ. There is nothing you can do to earn salvation. Grace is freely given through faith. And while I may have heard the message, it certainly didn't register. Love for me in my life was something that had to be earned. Now, that's not to say that my parents didn't love me, but I longed to be the good child, the perfect child. I would leave church most Sundays and ask, Mom, was I good today? I only got my name on the board one time in elementary school. And I might add, third grade, it was completely undeserved. And in junior high and high school, I never, not one time, got a detention. I tried to be a perfect angel. Because being perfect was how I guaranteed myself love. The love of my parents, the love of my grandparents, my teachers, any adults. I craved their approval. So I worked hard to get those A's. I was in Boy Scouts. I played competitive sports year-round. I played piano. Definitely not perfect at that. I was in the band. This is how I became worthy of love and praise, though. By working hard to excel at everything I did. And the more active activities I was in, the more chances I would have to be perfect and earn that love. That's how it's supposed to work, right? We're supposed to earn that love. It was in late high school and early college that I really started exploring my faith. I grew up immersed in Catholicism. My dad is Catholic, and the school I attended had so many Catholics that the cafeteria did not even serve meat on Fridays during Lent. Just cheese, pizza, and fish sticks. And my girlfriend, now my wife, Andrea, she was Catholic. Maybe I would just convert to Catholicism. It would certainly make things easier being the same brand of Christianity once we were married. What was so different about this Catholic and Lutheran faith anyway? So I started to explore my faith. And what I found is it didn't come down to 7 sacraments in the Catholic Church versus 2 in the Lutheran Church, or even the saints. What it came down to for me, why I'm standing here today talking to you from a Lutheran church, was because it came down to works. Everything I was trying to do were the works I was trying to do to earn love. I had spent my whole life trying to be good, trying to earn it. But every time I did something well, I just felt like I had to do more. If I tried harder, maybe I could be more perfect. Doesn't even make sense. Our world values hard work and the success that comes from hard work above all else, doesn't it? We are supposed to earn our own way, pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps. And frankly, this perfectionist vision of life was breaking me. Slowly but surely, I came to believe that this is not what God wanted for me or for any of us. And I kept coming back to this question. How much is enough? How much is enough to earn God's love? How perfect do I have to be? How many works must I do? How many church services must I attend? How often do I have to go volunteer at that food bank? How much do I need to donate to Lutheran World Relief? And eventually I came to an answer. It is never going to be enough. I cannot earn God's love or salvation. And when I got to this point, you might expect that I sunk into a deep pit of despair. Oh no, there's nothing I can do. But the opposite happened. I found myself full of hope. I could stop trying to be perfect because none of this is my work. This work is the work of Christ and Christ alone. I had finally figured out after over 20 years of being a Lutheran what being saved by grace through faith really meant. And I was liberated. Well, sort of. This is still a daily struggle for me. I still struggle against my perfectionism. But daily I remind myself, simul justus et peccator. You might be wondering, what does that mean? This is just a fancy Latin way of saying that I am a sinner through and through. And at the same time, I am made righteous through Christ. Through Christ, I am freed from my bondage to sin. Christ has freed me from the toxic bonds of perfectionism, from having the audacity to believe that there is anything I can do to earn salvation and love. In this work, the liberating work of Christ, this is what has freed me to love and serve my neighbor. Not hoping to earn salvation. That's not why we serve our neighbor. We serve our neighbor because we are freed by Christ. This is why I'm a Christian. This is the difference Jesus has made in my life. This is my why Jesus.